Hello and welcome to another Matchbook Betting Exchange English Greyhound Derby podcast. This is the last of the series because we are looking ahead to the final of the Star Sports and TRC English Greyhound Derby decider. £175,000 on the line, PL, but it's more than just the money, isn't it? It's about a place in history, and all of the Greyhound world is looking at Toaster on Saturday night and hoping for a true Derby champion.
Yeah, and of course, I suppose in the shape of Swords Rex, son of Droopy Sydney, there are, there's a lot of sort of repercussions once you win a derby in your stud career as well. So, yeah, Swords Rex is a dog that obviously you make the starting point when you're making any discussion about this year's derby, because he has been completely and utterly awesome right the way through.
I believe you're making the journey over this year. It wasn't looking likely for a while, but you said last week that you'll be over.
Yeah, me and Lorraine are coming over. Yeah, a little bit of a busman's holiday, as it were, as a flying visit, coming over on the Saturday and then back again on Sunday.
Yeah, same as myself. Over Saturday, back on Sunday, but looking forward to it. And 15 race card. That has all of a sudden become a 16 race card, because they've added a 15 race card, 14 race card that's now become a 15 race card. They've added a match race ahead of what was scheduled to be the opening race at 6:04 at 5:47. Mary Champion versus New Destiny. What's your thoughts on match races, PL? I think there's a place and time for them. Maybe this is the place and time for them. It's two exciting young greyhounds.
Yeah, we've had a few match races at Lifford, actually. A couple of them have been over the sprints, and sometimes they can turn out to be not what you expect, especially in the sprint where it can be all over at the start. But yeah, I don't mind a match race as long as they're closely matched. Obviously, that's the thing. And I think when we had Roxhome Magic and she ran over 750, you'd probably say she was a little bit short for her, but because it was only a two-dog contest, it played into her hands. So I think I prefer to see match races 4 bends plus, I must admit. But yeah, it's very, very exciting that they're two youngsters as well. So we don't know everything inside about the pair of them. And it is definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a case of people backing against promise as well as potential and what they've shown already on the track. Let's get down to it, though. Let's start looking at the Star Sports TRC English Greyhound Derby decider. We do have a red-hot favourite in the form of Swords Rex, although close to even money on Matchbook Betting Exchange. He's 8-13 with some of the fixed odds firms. I'm more of that view. I think he's an odds-on chance, no question about it, like 195 to 198. Like that could easily settle at 197. Sure, is as good as even money, PL. That seems a fair enough price, but a greyhound that has done absolutely everything right. That's very much the top price out there at the moment, the 195.
Yeah, and I think he deserves to be there. He just hasn't put a foot wrong. And I keep noticing that the race car comments are very quick away, and I think most people agree with me that he's not really necessarily very quick away. He's just getting a sensible break, and he's just got a devastating turn of early pace, Ian, and that's what's winning him his races. He's just, once his feet touch the ground, it's instant acceleration, and it's serving him really, really well. The fact that he can do, the 28, 70s and 80s when he's off the front, that's difficult to catch a dog like that. And he's just got real quality. He's a dog that I think can go all the way.
Yeah, I was told by one or two people in the last week. I was surprised that he didn't do the clock last week, fully enough, after Clonagh in the previous race doing 28.69, and that the bows had gone between the two races, and that it was a little bit wet underfoot maybe for Swords Rex. So like the 500 meters isn't an issue with him. It is a case of if he leads, he probably wins, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think the fact that if he wins the English Derby, they won't be worrying about whether he's got the track record or not. That's the key is having that blue ribbon against his name, and we've done previews right the way through this, and I know that you were very sweet at him. So I asked Salt to miss the price, but I have been nibbling at him so I don't lose on my booking throughout the Derby, and I've gone in again actually at 11-10 when I found out the draw. So yeah, he's getting to be the price that he should be. But you're right, he should be odds on, and whether he should be sort of 8-11, 4-5, So that 1.9 something is still that tiny bit of value.
Before we actually give our verdict on the final itself, let's walk ourselves through the rest of the finalists. Clonaduke is second in the market. He is, where was he? He was about 5. Not even 5, was he? Is he 4.7? He's going to go coming up now. But Clonaduke set the standard in the semi-finals. I was pretty sweet in him, has to be said now. PL, I was. Just saw the clues were there that he was flat in the third round, a bit better in the quarter. And then, I was expecting a big run from, and it certainly came 5.2 as a result of last week's run. I think that's perfectly fair. Yes, he is out in trap 5, and perhaps his best chance of winning this derby would have been from a draw inside of Swords Rex, but he did win the select stakes in Waterford from trap 5, and he is capable of a flying start. He is that 398, albeit from trap 1 on the 26th of May. That was in the opening round when posting the first track record that he broke, 28.673. If you are backing Clonaduke at this point, you are hoping that he pings the lids, but we know he is capable.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Again, a dog that can break the track record twice is a Derby class dog, and Clonaduke is certainly that. You're always going on trap draws. Now, there could be a scenario, on the night Clonaduke could hit it. The thing is with Clonaduke and his Achilles heel is his starting. He's very, very inconsistent at lid rise. But again, we've discussed this before. He's not devoid of early pace by any means. The fact that he's drawn off the fence probably a little bit too wide, in actual fact, his box would be 3 or 4. But the fact that he's not in trap 1, I think he'll probably break cleaner. I think that he could come out running, and then he's definitely a big runner in this final. Swords Rex, I would say, has got slightly better early than him. So if they break level, I'd expect Swords Rex to probably take a little bit out of Clonaduke to the turn. Now, you're right. Clonaduke, he's flying down the back straight. It was on record that Graham had obviously had that little bit of a problem with him at the quarterfinal stage and thought he'd rectified it. And sure enough, so he did, and came out with that sparkling run in the semis. So he's definitely a big runner. You can't discount him by any means just because he's on the outside of Swords Rex, because I still think he can put up a really good effort against his kennel mate. And the other scenario is that if Romeo Command did sort of a Killara line, if you like, and came flying out the boxes as a stayer and just took the ground of Swords Rex in the opening few meters, that may just play into the hands of Clonaduke. They're all different scenarios. You just think, everything being equal, if you're looking at form, you're looking at what Swords Rex has been doing, you kind of think that he'll probably break fairly clean and then use his early pace to get to the front. But Clonaduke is certainly worthy of being second favourite in this race.
It does sense, you do get that sense that whatever we say about any one of the other dogs, there is an asterisk, and that it very much depends on Swords Rex not missing the kick, but just fluffing his line somewhat at the lids, because if he doesn't, he's going to be very hard to beat, especially from the draw. Next in is Romeo Command. He's 5.4 currently, 5.47. I think he'll be closer to the 7 on the night, funnily enough. I think Gaytime Nemo myself should be a shorter price than Romeo Command. That's just maybe the green tinted glasses being an Irishman. I just thought from the inside of Romeo Command, I think he's every bit as much early, and the fact that he's off the fence should help him start that little bit better. But Romeo Command, while he didn't win last week and he posted his slowest sectional since the opening round, 4:24, he did really impress me. Like he cut through the pack, pretty readily. Like going into the corner, I said, like, this fella's in trouble. And all of a sudden, bang, like he finds himself in second spot. It was such a hard run by Romeo Command, but we did see his Achilles heel at the same time.
Yeah, I've kind of warmed to Romeo Command. It was never my sort of dog particularly, because I think he's that little bit lacking in early pace. But he has got good all-round speed. And the fact of the matter is that he's quite capable of doing a 28.70 himself. And therefore, if he comes out running, you know that you're never beat with him, because he stays very, very strongly. He's got good back straight pace and comes home well. So again, scenarios, do Swords Rex and Clonaduke come together? Does Romeo Command get a run into the turn? And again, you're right about Gaytime Nemo being in there. He's no forlorn hope by any means. It is a quality derby, but you just think that probably Swords Rex has got that X factor in that when he met Romeo Command last week, they were drawn in 4 Romeo Command, 5 Swords Rex. In the first few meters, he was just away and gone, Swords Rex, and Romeo Command just took his time to get going. But then once, as you say, once he got himself into a rhythm, he looked pretty decent, to be fair. Now, would there be a scenario where Swords Rex just misses it and then Command comes out that little bit better?
That could be. It's a case of that's what's going to have to happen, though. Patrick Janssen has shown that he can get a dog out in the Derby final. Not only did he get Clara Lion out that night, but he also got Thorn Falcon out that night. It's worth remembering Thorn Falcon went on to win it. That was a sad night for the Irish. We had 4 in the final that night, and our Derby was over after 2 strides. I don't think that will be the case this year, in a sense where I think we'll have challengers into the opening corner. But there's no question that Romeo Command is the leading UK hope.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and he's quite capable of going very, very close in this Derby final because of the fact that he's got a big engine. Again, it's just probably the starting, and I think Patrick was interviewed and he said anything from 2 to 5 would be all right for him, but I probably think his ideal box might actually even be 4, and I think he ran a real solid race again to get beat. About 3 lengths, wasn't it, by Swords Rex? But I just feel that he just might be found wanting in the first early meters. So if he does get the crack, then at the traps, then you've got to get the rest of the field to kind of miss it because Gaetan Nemo's not devoid of early pace. We know Swords Rex has got early. We know Clone of Duke can show early off a decent start. So. Yeah, it's an intriguing final. It's certainly an intriguing final, and there could be any scenarios. I think a lot of it is going to be on when the traps open, really.
We'll talk about the scenarios in a little while. Let's talk about the next dog in, Gaytime Nemo. We've both alluded to him in the last few moments. A dog with good pace throughout. He's not what you call a flying starter. He's not what you call a flying finisher, but he's just a good all-rounder. But is capable of a good start. He's a 4.12 in his card, a 4.14. And I think there's probably a 4.10 in him. I think he's going to need to do a 4.10. But if he does, he probably has a very good draw.
Yeah, I think he's got a good draw in the... Cochise is obviously the stayer. I would probably say Cochise might edge off a little bit, but I always think that Gaytime Nemo wants to be drawn where he is anyway. I don't think Gaytime Nemo is a trap 1 specialist. So if he was mine, I think I'd be pretty pleased with the draw. I think the fact that I guess that if he was drawn 1 and Cochise was drawn 2, that might be a similar sort of thing. But you just think it just being drawn off that fence a little bit, it just fetches them out the box that little bit better, Ian, and I think that Gaytime Nemo again has got good all-round pace. He's probably not got as much early as he's definitely not got as much early as Swords Rex, but as you say, he's got that good all-round quality, and the fact that he can do a 28.70 odd himself, again that's going to win you a Derby. So again, it's going to be on lid rise. He wouldn't want Cochise smashing out the boxes and just edging off. And nudge him in the early few meters. That would be the little bit of negative, because I think that Romeo Command will just take a step to the right and give him all the room in the world. So if Gaytime Nemo comes out of a box, he will be not too far off him at the first turn.
Yeah, the way I see the final, in a sense where I've Swords Rex back to at decent prices, we're going to Duke back to decent prices, but not as much as I thought I did. So I pressed up last week on him at 8. I thought he should have been clear second favourite. That was my view. So I'll probably lay Swords Rex for a few quid, but in terms of then topping up on one other, it'll be Gaytime Nemo. He's 10 to 1. He's 9.4 at the moment in exchange, but I think he'll be the 11. I think he'll definitely get that at some point, especially when it's available out there. And yeah, I think he's the one I'll be pressing up on. Let's talk about the 2 outsiders of the party here. Cochise is around 28 and Ninja Kerry's about 50. I can't disagree with that. I would probably have Cochise a fraction shorter. Not much. I find it very difficult to make a case for Ninja Kerry in a sense where I think 4 dogs need to miss it for him to win it, and he needs to do everything right. And don't get me wrong, he's been an absolute joy for connections. He's November 19 whelply. He's 3.5 years of age plus. A dog that went through Kilkenny sales didn't sell. They bought him out of Shelburne Park and shown glimpses of promise there, and all of a sudden he took off in the UK. They've got a couple of big prizes out of him. But I really don't fancy him. But I do see a situation where Cochise could certainly get involved, especially if he hits the lids and then any traffic on his outside. Well, knowing how strong he is and how he's been how well he's been running, he can certainly get involved at big prices.
Yeah, I guess you could be right in that there is a quicker way in him. He definitely has got the quicker way in the locker, but I think with Derby class early pace, he'll get found out going into the turn. I think that would be the way I would see it. You're right. He's not completely and utterly forlorn hope, because you don't really expect him to lead, but he's been thundering home, to be fair to him, and there's not too many sort of strong stayers other than Romeo Command in this race. So there might be a scenario if the main protagonists do collide at any stage from boxes into the turn, he might be able to get himself a posse. But essentially, he's a six-bend dog, a decent six-bend dog without being a startling six-bend dog, and he's done really well to get to the final, and they're there, and they'll be absolutely delighted, the connections, to get there. But realistically, he's got a tough task.
Yeah, Ninja Kerry.
Again, admirable efforts to keep qualifying without winning a single round. The Derby, Belinda's done terrific with him to get to this Derby final. He won the Sussex Cup. He's got decent all-round pace without being startling, and I always thought he was an early pacer front runner, and yet he's shown battling qualities. And I think Belinda said that, when you kind of you're working around a dog and you get to understand the dog's traits, I think the vibes you get from Belinda is he's just one of those dogs that wants to do his best for you, and he's certainly done his best for connections. You have to say he's done really, really well to get to this Derby final. And I think Belinda was quoted as well as saying that this dog hasn't had straightforward tasks from last year's Derby to this, but he obviously loves Toaster, and he runs the track well, and he's got the draw that he kind of keeps getting 5 or 6. He's in 6. I always think probably his ideal box would be 4, but again, in the context of this race, that's where he wants to be. So if he did come thundering out, and again, there was a bit of a cuddle, they might get a bit of a thrill, but I guess realistically, he's a 29.10 dog, and he's running against 28.70 dogs, so it'll be tough for him, bless him.
Yeah. He's the one finalist that hasn't won a round of the Derby thus far. Now, that's no hindrance to winning a Derby. We've seen that in the past, that it can be done, but again, his price reflects his chance. I'd suspect it's not going to be Belinda Green's last ever Derby finalist. A very impressive trainer.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, she's done very, very well. She comes across very well. She knows what she's doing, and the facts back it up, don't they? With the fact that Ninja Kerry's done so well for her. So it must be a great thrill to be there in the final for Belinda and the rest of the kennel.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and the very best of all 6 finalists, all connections, all kennel hands, trainers, owners, breeders, whatnot, because it means so much to everybody involved. So to the all-important verdict, PL, I'll let you go first. I want to hear how the race is going to go, and I want to hear your 1, 2, 3.
Well, I think that with level breaks, and you have to base your bets on level breaks of what you've seen throughout this Derby. Swords Rex is probably drawn reasonably well. You'd probably say, if you're being pernickety, he would be better in 3 and Romeo Command would be better in 4. But as long as he does what he's been doing, and he met Romeo Command last time out, I think that Swords Rex will lead all the way, because I think he's got a devastating turn of early pace. I think he's a special greyhound, and I think he would be a deserved Derby winner. And again, I think Clona Duke has got good all-round pace. It would be tough. It'll be tough, really. You're looking at draws as well. You say, well, Clona Duke's got to get round Swords Rex. I think in my mind that Clona Duke's got slightly better early than Romeo Command. And so I think I'd probably be going Swords Rex, Clona Duke, and Romeo Command in that order, but fully respect the chances of Gaytime Nemo as well. And I just think that maybe Cochise and Ninja Kerry have done well to get to the Derby, but probably might just struggle pace-wise.
Okay, difficult to sort of disagree with the way you're thinking. I'm with you, Swords Rex. I just think he's doing everything right, and until he doesn't do everything right, you have to stick with him. 406 in his last 2 starts, a similar start would certainly see him go around in front, and I don't think the track will be running slow in any way, shape, or form. In fact, it'd be no surprise to me if there was another track record. The track would be flying. Swords Rex from the front. I think Clona Duke will probably turn second, and I'm going to take a chance in Gaytime Nemo third. So the Irishman tipping a 1-2-3 for Ireland is hardly a surprise to most, but that's purely on the basis of the form and the draw. I do think that Swords Rex and Clona Duke are the 2 best dogs in their contest, and I just thought Gaytime Nemo has the best of the draw of the remaining duo, himself and Romeo Command. They could finish either way, no question about it, but I do think it'll be Swords Rex, Clona Duke, and Gaytime Nemo. A great final to look forward to. It's a 9:15 on Saturday night. Don't forget to tune in. It's going to be on Racing Post Greyhound Television, and it should be a wonderful spectacle. £175,000 to the winner, £25,000 for second, 12.5 for third, 10,000, 7,500, and 5,000 for the remaining 3 placings. A total of €235,000 on offer for the English Greyhound Derby decider. That's some twine. And PL, obviously, it's a wonderful supporting card. 14 races in all on the undercard, so 15 race card in total. That's including the match race to kick off proceedings. Just a quick glance at the match race: Married Champion in 2, New Destiny in 4. I know you haven't had any time to really study it, but what you know of the 2 dogs, is there an initial thought?
I'd say that probably Married Champion might have slightly better early than the other fellow who stays well. So I'd probably go Married Champion in that one, Ian.
Okay, I'll go with New Destiny then, just be the contrarian. We're gonna go to the last race on the card, because it's always a special contest, the Durando Marathon, and this is a slightly more competitive renewal than last year. Of course, Space Jet was 1-5 last year. Julia obliged by 11 3/4 lengths. She has the likes of Our Smasher and a Mystical Love to take care of, and a certain Nighttime Danny. Nothing's going to be easy in this contest. It's a cracking little Durando.
Yeah, it certainly is. Space Jet's been one of those young ladies that you kind of always want to follow. She's an exciting type of runner. Obviously, we had Roxanne Magic won the Durando twice for us, which was quite special at Wimbledon twice, and of course Lorraine trained Spirit and Louis as well in 2007, and he broke the track record in the process of winning Durando. So it's got kind of special place in my heart, and obviously I know Matt and Terry really well. And Kern and Margaret as well. So yeah, I'd love to see Space Jet bounce back to form. She's obviously coming out of season, but she won last time out at Hove. So yeah, I'd like to see her win. Our Smasher was very, very impressive. I don't know what you beat particularly, but he's staying very, very well for June. And Mystical Love as well it seems to be staying all right against Luna Jezebel at Crayford. So Nighttime Danny is always a good solid yardstick, isn't he? Whether he quite wants 9.42, I'm not so sure, but he's getting that little bit older in the tooth now, so maybe it won't hold too many terrors for him. But I think all things being equal, everybody will want to see Space Jet bring the house down.
Yeah, she's just coming out of season, as you said, and while she is out of season at this point, just might take her a week or two to be really fully tuned. So I think she could be more vulnerable than normally. I'd be interested to see how Mystical Love handles a slightly bigger circuit. She's she's been getting dizzy around Crayford. I just think a return to a bigger sort of track might suit her, and just interesting to see how well she runs. Of the other races that have been priced up at PL, uh, we have, of course, the British Bread Stakes sign. He's an odds-on favourite there. The Derby Plate, of course, from Post to Pillar is currently 11-4, 3-1 Brookside Ritchie. And the Greyhound Trader Stakes, then you have Ballymac John is 6-4 favourite ahead of Savannah Topcat. Anything stand out in those three contests that have been priced up already?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Sign It Goofy. I think he's been running well. Big fan of John Mullins as well. So I'm hoping whether I get involved quite as short as 8-11 is probably not. But he looks a fairly straightforward task for him, in that he's got that early pace. He just seems to be staying at that little bit better now at this stage of his career as well. So I think he'll win all right. The Plate looks a pretty decent matchup, doesn't it? Brookside Ritchie, the early pace and the staying type from Post to Pillar, they're drawn bookends. Rioja Joey obviously has got that little bit of a talent to him. YI Man, it's a decent enough race, but I know I think you said you were sweet on Brookside Ritchie in that race. Was it? Am I correct in saying?
I just think I think the track will be going well, and I think Brookside Ritchie getting off the front. I think from Post to Pillar probably won't make up the ground he did last week as quickly as he did, given the track conditions. And it is a slightly better contest than last week. And if From Post to Pillar was held up last week, well, he can certainly be held up this week. He's going to need to be doing things right early, avoid any sort of a scrimmage, and just wouldn't be surprised if Brookside Ritchie skipped clear. He'd be my choice. I also fancy Ballymac John in the Trader Stakes. I think a draw off the fence will get him out of boxes, and I think if he goes around in front, I think he'd be very hard to beat.
Yeah, he certainly he kind of just missed the kick a couple of times, hasn't he? In his early rounds of that comp, and he's got decent speed, hasn't he? I was against him last week, but you're right. He's got some kind of chance. There's also a really good race 9, Ian, with Mystical Mario, Ballymac Joey, Brinkley's Magic, New In Ranger, Thunder Black, and Burj Khalifa. That's a quality race there for the Time Greyhound Nutrition Challenge. 2,000 to the winner. It's attracted a really good entry there. I was a bit disappointed with Burj Khalifa walking out the boxes last week. I thought he ran really well and just was a little bit unlucky not to qualify. And he's got a good makeup there to bounce back to form. So I think I'll be Burj Khalifa in race 9.
They've moved that. That's now race 14 on the card in the final draft. So that's the penultimate race on the card. Yeah, it's a cracking contest. Who did you say you'd be with?
Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, Burj Khalifa. Yeah, Mystical Mario on the inside. You don't know how he's going to trap from trap 1. He's trapped from every other box, but yeah, trap 1, he did a 4:13 from trap 1. He's gone faster from every other box he's been in. So if he raced up the inside, and yeah, he could cause a bit of hassle. Ballymac Joey is now known as Salaker's Mac, Brinkley's Magic. With the early speed on his inside, just be worried about that ease on the opening corner. And you could be right, Burj Khalifa could get a lovely run on the outside. He was a little bit unlucky last week not to qualify. Obviously, Cochise got around in front of him. He really did press him hard to the third bend, but he was never going to pass Cochise at that point. And
he just needs a better break, doesn't he?
A great run through the competition. Yeah,
he walked out last week.
Well, he is big, 40.2 kilo dog. It takes him a while to get out of those boxes. Himself and Mystical Mario will be some clash if they met on the opening corner. Two dogs between them about 80 kilos. That's a lot of junk. Still a bit shy of what I weigh, but yeah, you know yourself. PL, anything else on the card that catches the eye before we let you go?
No, I think that was it really. Yeah, they were the dogs I was interested in. It's a cracking Derby final card. I suppose Jack Tavern Bella, we should mention her really. She's in the Stayers race, the 712. She run oh so well throughout the Derby, and obviously 712 meters will be more her bag, I would imagine. So she'd be an interesting runner in the Stayers race.
It's a hell of a good contest. It's a hell of a good contest. You want to be doing things right. You'd imagine she'll lead up Derby's Delight, and you'd be hoping Derby's Delight won't get distracted this time. He was distracted running last time. It's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, be interested to see how Jack Bella runs. But all in all, a wonderful card to support what is a tremendous Greyhound Derby final. PL, same time, same place, same time as last year. I'll see you for a drink at the bar on the ground floor after racing.
That's it.
Best of luck with the punting. Best of luck to your anti-post selections and your portfolio, shall we say? And yeah, may the best dog win.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, let's hope for a good race. It'd be good to see Swords Rex win as well, because he'd be a worthy Derby champion, unbeaten. Hopefully.
Yeah, Bayman to become the first unbeaten Derby champion since Westmeath Hawk, and of course prior to him, Chart King, Chandler Slippy. So the last two I mentioned were Irish trained. The last winner to go unbeaten through it was Westmeath Hawk, trained by the legendary Nicky Sava, very much a UK trained greyhound, and now Swords Rex bidding to emulate them all. So the very best of luck to all 6 finalists. That's it from us on the Matchbook Betting Exchange on this Wednesday morning. We're looking forward to the Star Sports TRC English Greyhound Derby final. The very best of luck if you have a toe, a nibble, and a nose, or anything involved in a greyhound. If you have any sort of financial interests, the very best of luck on Saturday. But that's it from us today. We'll see you next time. Good luck, good morning, God bless.